And a good Tuesday to you. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley here with a look at your Piedmont forecast and Triad weather. Sometimes straightforward, other times throws us a couple of curveballs. And today was one of those days expecting one thing and kind of getting quite another. We've seen a good amount of sunshine today instead of cloudiness, instead of rainfall. So what gives? What happened with all of that? We'll explain that forecast and let you know where the system is that was supposed to bring us all the rainfall and what we could still see from that. We'll talk about a bit of a warm-up heading in toward the end of the week and take a look at the tropics. A new system is brewing. It's only a matter of time before it starts to get its act together. Where is it going to go? So glad you're with us. Let's take a live look at what's going on outside. This is that system. I call it that system because it doesn't have a name. No, it doesn't. It's not a technical, formal tropical storm. What it is it's a big old coastal low. And you say, what is that? Well, you could call it a nor'easter if you want to. It's kind of similar to that. You could make the argument that this is somewhat of a tropical system, though, or a subtropical system. Where we're located, just for reference, North Carolina has mostly avoided this storm ever since yesterday. It kind of pivoted and moved its way up the coast into Virginia. Now, slight changes in the path. It kind of moved more like this and less like that. That made big changes to our forecast. The fact that it was a little bit farther north, a little bit farther east, well, that means that not as much of this cloud cover or rainfall moved into our area either. And so locally right now, we're finally, and I say finally, starting to see a little bit of cloud cover, and a few people have noticed a couple of sprinkles. Now, the rainfall that's still north of us this evening, it's possible that it could continue to kind of move our way. So there is at least some chance for rain going into tonight, but that chance of rain is not all that high. You might get a shower or two here or there, but a lot of us are not really going to be all that wet this evening. Just don't be shocked if you wake up and the car is wet heading in toward tomorrow. I'll show you a couple of camera views in case you haven't looked outside in a little while. Well, this looks a little bit different, doesn't it? Downtown Greensboro right now we have some clouds. Winston-Salem, clear to the south, cloudy to the north. So it really kind of just depends on where you're located right now. But like I said, there's not much rain to be had locally at this time. I will say overnight tonight, it's possible we could get a couple of sprinkles. We're seeing just a few of these right now. But our forecast model is picking up on that idea that there will be at least a few showers while we are sleeping overnight tonight. Right now, our temperature started to drop pretty rapidly. It was in the mid-70s when we were a little bit sunnier. Now we're starting to see some cooler air. So there is a little bit of a backdoor cold front component to this. And when I say that, that's cooler air kind of advancing in from the north, moving in progressively. And so what we'll see is we'll get a little cooler tonight with that thicker cloud cover. It's possible that closer to midnight we'll have a few areas of rain to track for you. It'd be a good thing. We could use some rainfall. And this is tomorrow morning. It's possible that we wake up with a little rainfall to start the day, and it's just a little bit of a gloomy start to Wednesday. That cloudiness, that damp weather, that'll linger a little while, and then toward tomorrow afternoon, that's when the sunshine comes back. So for Wednesday, we start out with clouds, can't rule out a shower, gets more sunny as the afternoon goes along. So that's kind of where we're headed with that. This system, though, really is making a bit of an impact. Here's a view up in Ocean City, Maryland. If you notice, there's a bit of wind kind of, shaking the fence posts along a little bit. There are big waves and breakers, of course, offshore too. Highway 12 in the Outer Banks, that was a big deal yesterday. Right now, looking at a live view, the road's open pretty much everywhere, so not a big issue over that way. But you might notice this is kind of something interesting. This is from yesterday, but even still right now, there's still this modular home that got stuck. It was stuck up along the Bazanite Bridge, and it got stuck there for a little while and closed things. Well, they got it off the bridge, and that's good, but since then, it's kind of, not gotten too far. They had issues with that. The big wind gusts from yesterday were in the 50 to 60 mile per hour range. That was all in North Carolina. But as we say, this system is kind of moving away from us, and it'll head up the coast. Still, though, close enough to bring us maybe some clouds or a shower overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And then as we go into the day Wednesday, we're going to pivot this thing farther and farther to the north. It'll be a transition day. And then on Thursday, we start to talk about more sunshine, more heat building our way. I have us in the 80s for Thursday, and even the upper 80s is possible as we go into Friday of this week. So there is some heat headed our way for the next couple of days. Don't want to forget about the tropics. Of course, it's easy to. We haven't had a single storm in the month of September, if you can believe that. Kind of surprising. Not normal either, very unusual this time of year to have that happen. Now, what's going on right now? We do have a tropical wave. And when we say the words tropical wave, what do we mean by that? It's basically a cluster of thunderstorms, but it's not organized. So it's not rotating. It's not, moving in any sort of fashion that would show you an organized tropical system, and it's not getting stronger. Once you get an organized low pressure center, that's when a storm can start to form. It's born, basically, and it can gather strength. We haven't seen that yet with this wave out here, but the Hurricane Center, they're pretty impressed by what they're seeing. They've been tracking it for a little while, and over the next 2 days, so just the next 2 days, so from today through tonight through tomorrow, we could start to see a new tropical system. They're expecting it to form somewhere in this general area. So in this red shaded area is where we would expect that storm to start to form and pick up some steam. Now, the good news is that when this forms, and I'll say when because it's a pretty high likelihood, there's no threat to the Caribbean islands. That's good, number one. And then farther down the line, it's not one that I think will have us sweating it out too much, but still, we always want to watch these things until they make the turn. But all indications right now is that it will be one that kind of curves out to sea and doesn't really threaten the United States. Never say never. Obviously, we know the forecasts can change with things. We saw a change in the forecast locally for today. But with this one, I do feel like there's not really a reason for us to worry all that much. I'll leave you with your forecast as we go into Wednesday. This is your tomorrow. Again, possibility of a shower at times overnight tonight and a little bit heading into tomorrow morning. We'll start the day tomorrow with some clouds, and then as the day wears along, we'll start to get some sunshine. It'll get into the upper 70s for the day tomorrow. After that, we'll start the big warm-up that I mentioned. Take a look. I have us in the mid-80s for Thursday, and then in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees by Friday. We'll keep some of that warmth around heading into Saturday, but for the second half of the weekend, it should start to cool off a little bit. So I have us at 85 for Saturday, and then only at about 80 for Sunday. Don't forget that first day of fall, the equinox at least, that's Monday of next week.